that, well, if I just bump it another hour or so, let's see if people are around. So that was kind of the method to my madness. And plus, it's just general chaos going on and so many problems. Not problems, just a lot of things to deal with. And regards to the book launch and all the other stuff and kind of the spillover from the commission, which is still going on, and some of the nonsense that's going on, and it never seems to end. But good morning, and in the honor of Scott Adams, on the count of three, if you have your coffee with you, why don't we try to do this simultaneous sip that he does as a dopamine release, because it'll kind of unify us. That's the whole spirit of the Freedom Convoy, that we all want to unify and be together and support each other irrespective of our differences. So I don't know. Let's try it. So if you got a cup of coffee with you, on the count of three, we're all going to take a sip, all right? 1, 2, 3. I think that works. I think that's amazing. I think he's onto something. He does that every time he starts. And it's amazing. Oh, my favorite. You're an idiot. I love the trolls. Thank you, Mr. Tattoos all over his. You know what? He's got a torso with all sorts of tattoos that he's proud of. That has to be his avatar to show everybody. I'm assuming this is not just a bot, which it might be. But you're one of those guys on a dating app that just, shows a picture of your tattoos and your torso. Eh? Like that's really attractive. That gets all the girls, I'm sure. Anyways, love the trolls. Come on in. You're the best. I love interacting with people who have IQs that are in the double digits, sometimes the single digits. But anyways. Good morning, K9. It's good to see you, and Megan, and Kiss Chunky. It's good to see you as well. See, Kiss Chunky, you said that was delicious. You know what? It makes a difference when we all do it together. It's kind of that bonding thing that we need. But I want to welcome you to the Freedom Coffee live stream, which is we're trying to make this our positive space to look at celebrate all the freedoms that we have and look to expanding them in the future, despite all the noise and the problems we're dealing with politically. And we'll deal with them, we talk about them, and we'll figure out some strategies as well. Kiss Junkie likes tattoos. Okay, well, there you go. You have Guy Perriot, I think his name is. I'll introduce you to him. He seems to very much like his tattoos as well, and he's very proud of them. So all the best, Guy. Good morning from Montreal. Good morning. Actually, spoke to a friend of mine from Montreal earlier, who is a big supporter. She's been a supporter of mine for a long time, and she just posted to her group, Honking For Freedom, honkingforfreedom.com, and recommended it as a book for her followers to get and to read. So I guess the reviews are positive all around. Freedom Girl, what's up? How are you, dear? Okay, so Bella. Why Bella? Why? I'm sure there's a reason for that. But anyways, thanks for coming, Freedom Girl. Freedom Girl goes into Twitter space regularly, and I've interacted with her. She's very sweet. She's always, contributes good, solid, intelligent perspectives and points of view, and just wants us all to come together and unify around freedom. So I appreciate you for that. Like, share, subscribe, this thing, all that sort of stuff. I just want to welcome you not only to the Freedom Coffee live stream, but I also want to welcome you to Canada in 2022. One of the stories from the commission that the mainstream media really hasn't picked up on, that's remained, one of those really, crippling stories of drama and the threats to Canada, the threats to our democracy. And that is that Philip, the time-traveling goat from Diagolon and cocaine addict, is now a matter of public record. Welcome to Clown World. That is, that's Canada. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that in the near future. But so just, you want to be careful when you go out. You want to be careful about those time-traveling goats because they can be quite dangerous, right? Yeah. Amanda, welcome to the shit show. Wouldn't you love to be the legislator who has got a comment on that and write about that? I mean, I feel bad for the commissioner. How's he going to... Yeah, we got a time-traveling coke addict goat that is the leader of some organization. Anyways, it is what it is. I was the thumbnail, if you saw today that I posted, was from one of the many, many, many interviews I did on Newsmax. So I was on Newsmax on Thursday, and I went through their website, and I'm like, I remember doing some more interviews for them. I can't remember, so I typed in my name, and then, like, I don't know, 4 or 5 of them popped up, and started watching a couple of them. And yes, for me, sometimes it's cringe. It's like, ugh. I could have worded it so much better. I mean, yeah, it was a little bit under the pressure and all that sort of stuff, but like, anyways, you know how it is. Nobody likes to review themselves because we all find faults in what we do, and I'm no different. I'm the same way. But anyways, that's the reason for the Newsmax thumbnail, and it just so happens that tomorrow, for those of you who are in the United States, because Newsmax is carried on cable, I'll be on Newsmax tomorrow at 9:30 in the morning, again talking about Honking For Freedom, the book, and kind of the status of what's going on in Canada. Maybe I'll mention Philip, the time-traveling goat, to try to make amends with some people who were attacking me. Maybe I'll get them some attention. But anyways... And then tonight, I'm going to be at an event tonight, actually, with, do you know who Raheel Raza is? Does everybody know who Raheel Raza is? You've seen her on Bill Maher a couple of times, or on U.S. media. She's really vocal in her community. She's Pakistani, about anti-fundamentalism and all that sort of stuff. She really is wonderful, so I'm friends with her and her husband. They are having an event get-together for Tariq Fatah, who is a very well-known commentator in India, and it's his birthday. So we're all going to be getting together for a little dinner tonight. So it's going to be quite awesome to see them. I haven't seen them in, I guess, the beginning of COVID. It's been a while. Like, we've been in touch, but I haven't seen them. So that'll be great. Reading your book a second time. A second time, really? Just finished the Jerry Can chapter, Fabulous Move by Canadians. Oh, yeah, that was... I mean, when they blocked the fuel trucks so what we had, because there are laneways all over the place, the fuel trucks were going to basically drive down the laneways and just top up a little bit of fuel for every truck to get them through the night or through a couple of days, whatever. Because a truck can idle forever and not use very much gas, especially if they're using an APU. And so the idea was just to have a truck that will just keep everybody from freezing. And the police in the city of Ottawa decided, no. Human rights. We need to freeze our Canadian citizens because that's what we're about. Human rights. That would be Diane Deans and Mayor Idiot. What's his name? Mayor Watson. And I think Slowly was still the chief of police at the time. All of them came up with this amazing idea of let's try to freeze the truckers, right? Because we don't like their protest. The protests that we like, we bend on a knee like we're a bunch of cowards and submissive losers. But because we don't like the convoy, we don't like working people who are not dependent upon the government, well, then we gotta freeze them at night. Welcome to the state of human rights in Canada. This is, this is kind of the clown world episode, isn't it? And their families, yeah, Amanda says, because many of them had their kids with them. Because for people who don't understand, city people, like myself, you wouldn't understand that some of these cabs are quite large. They have dual bunks, and some of them have dual bunks that are quite large. So you can fit, your wife and your kid in there, sort of thing. So, or your wife, your kid, and your dog, because the cabs are so big. And so those are the people that Diane Deans and Mayor Watson and Chief Slowly and then Chief Bell, those are the people they were trying to freeze and kill. Just so we know that. Okay, so when they talk about human rights, and they were doing all this at the behest of Prime Minister Blackface, so they're all just trash. Like they're just garbage, right? Garbage humans is what we have in our politics, but it is what it is, and it didn't break our spirit. And I just found out today that in addition to the hot tub, I didn't realize there were 3 saunas. And I have a friend who's Finnish. If you're Finnish, you know the significance of a sauna. And I think she got very excited by that. And that's the spirit of what we were trying to do. Just make it fun. Everybody get together and have a positive spirit the whole time. My son went with his stepfather all the time, Amanda. And let me guess, your son loved it and had a great time, right? Because from what I know, every kid that was there loved it because a lot of the trucks, they had the people who had a Packard truck, they'll have like a Kenworth or a Peterbilt that have like the old school horn with a chain. They would tie a load strap to the chain so the kids could walk by and give it a little honk honk. And the kids were loving it. The kids absolutely were loving it. Brian, what's up, brother? Honk, honk. It's good to see you too, man. And anyways, so I'm going to, a couple of things. First, I want a special thank to Guillermo. Guillermo also comes into Twitter Spaces with me and a bunch of people. Guillermo's awesome. He is in Quebec. He is French, as you would know by the name Guillermo. And but he's been really supportive of all of us, of the Freedom Convoy, and now of my book, and understands the importance of the message of positivity and love and bringing people together. And Guillermo went and bought 5 books, and because he wants to give it to a couple of people in his family to kind of wake them up about the Freedom Convoy and understanding that all of our experience was very positive and loving. And that's what I wrote about in here. This is all positivity and loving. This is not negative stuff. And it should be digestible to the average, I won't say liberal. We kind of use that word incorrectly. But even people who are progressive, I think, could read this and walk away understanding that people coming together around love is probably a good thing. So he bought 5 books, and I didn't realize, and Guillermo, if you're watching or in the future or whatever, dude, I love you for this, man. He bought 2 books to put in his local coffee shops. How brilliant is that? So just kind of leave it on the coffee table. It's topical. And Luciano's beautiful photography that we use for the cover, hopefully that will resonate with some people and they'll want to pick it up and leave it there. So that's an amazing idea. And then my assistant, Karen, who I love dearly, is trying to get Honking for Freedom into the local libraries. So if anybody knows, she's making a whole bunch of calls and whatever, but anybody knows how to get a book into the library, maybe this should be in our public libraries as well. So, because for me, what's important is that everybody gets to read it and hear the real story as opposed to the fiction of the fake news media. So anyways, thank you, Guillermo. That was an epic idea. I appreciate it. Amanda says about her son, always on the lookout for Sasquatches in Northern Ontario. What? First she's talking about she's talking about her ex, and then the next message is Sasquatch. Amanda, am I missing something here? I don't know. I love you. Anyways, Amanda's awesome. And you guys are all great. Ottawa, so Lisa, Ottawa's a woke joke clown show. It's certainly becoming like that. Ottawa School Board masks kids and teachers. Well, I mean, everybody's got to have a blankie on their face, right? That's the whole idea, because they're all afraid of the world. They're afraid of everything. And what are you going to do? I'm No DJ Productions. Got the books yesterday. Awesome, man. Don't forget to leave a review. And let everybody know what you think about it. And when you're doing your reviews, you can just put honk honk. I think that's hysterical. I think Pam did that. But also kind of give some insight. So if you are affected by it emotionally, if it told the truth that you didn't know, if you gave additional context, or if it's should be for people across the political spectrum, just kind of just mention that in the review. People do read them, believe it or not, which anyways, I want to give them as much context as possible. Good morning. Hopefully to libraries near you soon. That's Karen. Yes, thank you very much. Oh, and in addition with Karen, before I'm going to get on to this next thing, we are going to be doing a live event in Wallaceburg, Ontario. So as you know, we tried to do book launches in Toronto, 2 of them. They were canceled, and I learned exactly what Jordan Peterson was complaining about. Apparently during his 2022 tour, they couldn't secure a venue in all of Toronto. So you talk about woke clown shows. Well, Toronto's not much better than Ottawa. So he was unable to secure a venue in Toronto, and I ran into the same thing. We had 2 venues booked, and they were both canceled. Why? Because people are nuts. The same people who are calling in death threats to myself and Tamara in the hotels in Ottawa, a little-known story that we don't talk about much, they're the same people who were harassing the venues in Toronto because, I got a book, right? Books are dangerous. I think the government of Germany in the 1930s said something like that books are dangerous and they like to burn books. But anyways, welcome to Woke Cano. Just put a copy. I just put a copy into a Little Free Library, and I have a link. What is littlefreelibrary.org? I can't click on the link and watch it now, but if you can explain it in the text, let me know. So, Karen, maybe that's relevant to us. I have no idea. Lisa, I wonder who will buy Marazzo's book. Oh, God, don't think he's expecting many because he's doing a crowdfunding to help cover the costs. Yeah, I didn't do a crowdfunding. I paid out of my pocket, and it was a lot of money. And but it's important that everybody knows, and I wanted to get the story out, and I don't really it would be great if I could make the tens of thousands of dollars back that I put into this book. If I can't, I can't, but as long as you are out there and get the story, that's all I care about. I'd be interested to ask a lawyer about question yesterday about the mandates and the lawsuits. Yeah, I don't know. That I don't know, Alyssa, but I'm with you 100%. K9, I would only buy one of his books to make a video burning it. Yeah, he's getting a really, I don't know. I don't want to. I don't want to give oxygen to the guy. I mean, he's. I don't like charlatans. I don't like people who, I don't know, have done what he's done, and retroactively writing history and making themselves relevant. Because, well, you'll have read my book. There is a book called Tom Marazzo Calls a News Conference, which explains exactly what was going on. I was really disappointed to hear the JCCF, who are obviously collaborating with him, in the testimony. Where Brendan tries to, the lawyer, everybody liked until he started to give me shit. When he says, well, it's not true. Nobody talked to you after whatever day. That's what he was inferring. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, they were all coming to me every day. Like, you weren't there. It's such an idiot. Whatever. We all supported each other. We all kind of, as time went on, minus a few people, the idiot lawyer, Marazzo, a couple of the others, minus them, everybody kind of just did their thing. The road captains got into a groove. They spent their time on the ground communicating with the truckers directly, which is what we needed to do. Everybody started to get into a groove, but, I don't know, Doug Ford's people came in and broke it up from the inside, and there's still some people who haven't got it through their heads. They still don't understand that this is how politics works in Canada. This is the process. If there's a grassroots movement, then the political actors come in and they try to take it over and dissolve it. And if it goes sideways, then they'll fundraise around it. And the fundraising will go to them. So if you've noticed, there was fundraising going to the Freedom Corp group that was supposed to go to the truckers. Notice none of that money's going there now, right? You notice that it's going to a politically connected organization, and it's been doing so ever since the Convoy. I wonder why that is, right? So you've all been fleeced. I hope you all know that. Anyways. It's a book, the Little Free Library, free book sharing service in communities all around the world. Oh yeah, I think I know what that is. That's awesome. That's really cool. Thank you very much for that. That's Prairie Sun. Thank you. I can't thank you enough. That's awesome. Anyways, Karen, Krista Phelan's book is more scary, like Carl Schwab's. Well, she's nuts, right? She's absolutely nuts. Steve, stand proud, honk honk. All of us. Those are our personal pronouns. Honk honk, right? That's what I tell people if I ever get asked. And anyways, it takes money to make money, buddy. 100%, 100%. But I didn't do this as, look, if it makes money and it sells well and the story gets out there, even better. That would be amazing. But the motivation was just to get the story out there because I knew this whole commission would be politicized. It would become the Liberal Party versus the Conservative Party until I showed up and showed that they're all full of crap. And there's a lot of people who just don't understand they're being played by political parties. And hopefully over time they'll realize it. So getting on to that issue of political parties and this tangentially related to the commission, I was in Boston a couple of days ago, and I went there to, as I mentioned the last stream, I went there to speak to a group of Bitcoiners and supporters of the Freedom Convoy. I'm sure many of them had donated to the Freedom Convoy, and just really good people across the political spectrum. It wasn't left versus right or whatever. It's the people who understand it's our idiot political class versus the rest of us, right? Or the corporatized political class versus the rest of us. And but there was people, from all walks of life. There's people in the financial services industry. There are developers. There's all sorts of just really great people. Met a guy who's a doctor. Going to be getting together with him sometime soon and go down there. And he wants to show me around because I don't know that area of the country really well. So really, really good people. And on the way, I alluded to this last time, when the schedule, how it works. I drive to Massachusetts, I stay overnight, I unload in the morning, which is exactly what I did. And while I unloaded and then waited in the parking lot, like 20 minutes later is when Newsmax started. So I set up my computer like frantically, I got it ready for setup and stuff. So just in time, I parked the truck, opened my laptop, set it up, and then they came on. They're like, "Are you ready?" I'm like, "Okay." So what they do is a framing check and a sound check 20 minutes before. So I was ready for the check. Everything was working out perfectly. It was great. Went on Newsmax, spoke for like 5 minutes. Yeah, it was pretty long. It was short, 5 minutes or so. And then closed up my laptop, threw everything in the back, did all my circle checks around the truck, things you got to do in a trucker. Started a truck and then went to pick up. Normally I would pick up and then drive back to Canada. So this time I picked up and loaded and then went to, and you see the place. I have some pictures of where I picked up. Like one of the most difficult places I've had to, like imagine trying to park a jumbo jet in your garage. That's what I was trying to do in this particular recycling place. But anyways, besides the point. So I went from there to another part of Massachusetts, which was pretty close, maybe a half-hour Uber drive from where I was going to speak. And I parked the truck in the yard and then got on the computer. I had a couple of hours to kill and did some work, did some posting, email responding, all sorts of, like my OmniFocus is full of hundreds of tasks to do. So I was going through just a whole bunch of stuff. My alarm goes off. Okay, time to get ready, get changed, put on, a blazer and or blazer sports jacket and dress up nicely like I'm not a trucker. Get out of the truck, call an Uber, and then get to the event. So that was my day. So I'm on my way to the event. And it was in a place called Farmingham. I think it's Farmington, Massachusetts, just outside of Boston. And his list was moose, bears, and Sasquatches. I don't know what you're talking about there, but you guys are awesome. Okay, go ahead. Some of the weirdest conversations sometimes start in the chat. They're awesome. So I'm on my way there. And my Twitter lit up, which I said yesterday. All my DMs lit up because somebody by the name of Jody Thomas, who is a national security advisor / soccer mom Karen, apparently, was trying to blame me. One of you, I think here, said they just tried to throw you under the bus. I'm like, what are you talking about? Who's they? They said a national security advisor to Trudeau tried to say that the Emergency Measures Act, remember how it was worded to me, but they're trying to insinuate that it's because of Twitter that they invoked the Emergency Measures Act. And like, stop. Everybody's got to stop with this lie of a deal. We didn't drive across country to just, turn our tail and run and leave. We were waiting for them to talk to us. So the fact that Doug Ford's people were pretending as though they represented us, which they did not, and going to try to make side deals with the city. And by the way, these are all the people who say they don't do any deals in politics. It's all deals constantly. Here's another deal. Anyways, I remember when Pat King in a suit said to me that, I'm going to talk to the city. I'm like, no, you're not going to talk to the city. We need mandates. That's not the city's domain. We need the federal government. So just, chillax, buddy. Just relax and wait it out. And I said that in, I think, the Newsmax interview I was watching earlier today. I said, just wait, relax. And I said we just have to wait for the government to figure out who's in charge, and they're all blaming each other. Nobody's going to take any responsibility because that's how government works. And then eventually we'll have somebody that communicates with us, and we'll get some answers on mandates and ArriveCam, and we'll be able to air our grievances, right? That's fine. And I was even trying so hard to play ball with these idiots. And I just said, okay, listen, you want to bring in a negotiator? Fine. You tell me, who do you want to bring as a negotiator? I have to approve it. Tamara has to approve it. But you want to bring in a negotiator? Fine. I have no problem. I have that big of an ego. I don't have experience negotiating. Well, in business I do, but with the government, no. And I know that's a little bit different. So you want to get somebody, that's fine. I'll play ball. But I said to him, don't fuck it up. I was quite stern in my language with Pat King in a suit during the convoy. Maybe that's why he's so salty. Because I'm the client. He works for me, not the other way around. But he didn't seem to understand that. None of them did. Anyways, it is what it is. So I got this message, and I just thought to myself, like, everybody's got, like, how desperate are they? Just stop. Everybody start telling the truth. Everything's going to be so much better if they do that. If they just stop and say, okay, you know what? Yeah, there was miscommunication in the government. And we had some, we were concerned, and we were getting fake news, and we were dependent upon the lies from CTV and CBC. We were taking that as open source intelligence. We were taking that seriously, and we were ignoring the, hundreds of millions of reports around the world, all over the internet, of us speaking in our full context. And, there's so many other ways to go about it. But this false narrative, you don't think I know what the Dreyfus affair is? Because that's exactly what this is. And I knew that we were going to go into this. And if they keep going this way, I'm going to screw all of them badly. So I advise them to drop this nonsense. It really is. And, it's a stain on the history of Canada. We're supposed to have we're supposed to have respect for the Commission, because the Commission is going to advise on jurisprudence in Canadian law for generations into the future. And these people are fucking with it, pardon my language. But they really are, and it's really frustrating. Half of them are playing games. Oh, I was the spokesperson, and half, the guys on the... Anyways, I could go on forever, and I don't want it to get negative. But just so you know, that's the perspective from... And not just myself, Chad and Chris... And even Bridget, who we've found some common ground, and we're all starting to work together. We understand. Everybody now understands that it wasn't us throwing each other under the bus. It was these external sources that were throwing us under the bus, that were all politically connected, which is exactly what my testimony I was doing my best to convey, but you can only do so much in a question and answer forum. That's why I wanted standing, but they denied me standing, so we had to do the best we could with two hands tied behind my back, and I think we got through to it. You keep saying, Beth, keep saying Pat King. I believe you mean Keith Wilson. Oh, I said Pat King in a suit. Pat King in a suit. The last line of my testimony was I wanted a professional lawyer, but I got Pat King in a suit. That's referring to. And by the way, that's not a dig at Pat King. So, I mean, Pat King is what Pat King is. That's fine, right? He sees himself as a roughneck, and he sees himself as a voice for those people. That's great. Fine. You know what? And I'm not about censorship. I don't like some of the stuff he says. But you do you, I do me, and let's all just try to get along, right? So I'm not talking about him. I'm talking about the other person, right? Somebody should do a meme of just put Pat King's beard and his face into somebody else's suit, see what it looks like. That would be an amazing parody Twitter account, by the way. Anyways, so it was really concerning to hear in the car, and this is the important part. This is how politics works. And I know some people know this, some people don't, how dirty it is and how corrupt it is. Why is the JCCF lawyers and the Liberal Party of Canada sharing talking points? Think about it. What she said there is exactly what the JCCF narrative is as well. And in addition to that, Pat King in a suit when he was testifying, who was supposed to be our lawyers, which is why was not been my lawyer for quite a while, he got on the stand and he said the convoy needed to end. No, we needed to talk to the government, right? We needed to talk to the government. Not the convoy needed to end. Saunas, hot tubs, feeding the homeless, crime was going down. The city's never been so exciting and so safe. So, and plenty of spaces for emergency vehicles, all that sort of stuff. The government needed to talk to us. And it's funny, isn't that what politicians do? Aren't they just completely full of shit and all they do is talk all day long? All of a sudden now they've forgotten how to talk? Like, what is that? But it was shocking to hear a lawyer connected to the JCCF who is supposed to be representing the trucker convoys and those truckers said the convoy needed to end. Think in legal terms. What does that mean? Not in just regular vernacular day to day. What does that mean legally? That means he is siding with Trudeau and Doug Ford, which was who they were connected with. Why are they sharing talking points? Why are the people who've sucked up all the donations from all of you and are doing I don't know what with it? I'd like to see an audit of where that money went. Why are those people sharing talking points with Trudeau and Doug Ford? And that's why they're trying to smear me, because I won't let that crap go. I'm not. I'm sorry. We're not going to tarnish this amazing moment in Canadian history where we all got together to save some fat-ass premier who's completely incompetent, right? Why would they say that? Because that's how politics works, right? It's all through lobby groups. They all share messaging. They all communicate with one another. Like the text message in my testimony showed that Dean French, Doug Ford's personal friend since the 90s and former chief of staff and personal money manager, says, don't make sure to tell the truckers I have not spoken with Katie Telford, the chief of staff of Trudeau. Why? Because they found out we'd lose our minds, right? Well, we wouldn't, but the truckers on the ground would lose their minds. Like, why the hell is this guy who was against the trucker convoy? He said in the Toronto Sun, I do not support trucks on residential streets. That was the headline in the Toronto Sun from Dean French. Yet he's going to come in and represent us? I don't think so. No. That's not how this works. And it's amazing how people can't understand this is what was going on. Like, I understand it gets a little intricate, but that's how politics is. It's, as George Carlin said, it's one big group and you're not in it. And that's what happened to the truckers. It was one big group and we weren't in it. They were doing deals on the side, trying to figure out how to kettle the trucks, how to put the trucks together, and how to end this as quickly as possible. And that's not liberal versus conservative. That was all of them. The only sign of hope we saw was when Pierre Poilievre came out in front of the CBC and talked about why is it that, you know, freedom only is available to one side of the political spectrum, essentially is what he's getting at, right? And then he came out to serve coffee the next day, and then he went dead silent. Why did he go dead silent? Because Candace, who was leader of the Conservative Party at that time, wanted to meet with us for a photo op so she could stand in front of all the truckers and say, okay, now it's time to go home, which is exactly what they did in 2018. And Tamara had warned me about that when I met her. She was telling me the whole story, you know, because that's when I met her, 17, 18, something like that. Anyways. And I told them, you know, of course, the lawyers were like, yeah, we should meet with her. And I looked at Tamara and I said, no. And Tamara said to me, why? I said, because this is a setup. This is a complete setup. What they're going to do is they're going to get us all around Candace, and Candace is going to say the Conservatives are with you. Now it's time to go home. And then what do? Now we have all the political parties telling us to go home. And they did it in front of our faces, right? They use visual persuasion to make it look like the truckers are going to go home and they support them, right? So she agreed, and she said, yeah, okay. She said, I don't know if it was Tim or Keith, because I don't think I met Keith at that point yet. I think it was Tim. Anyways, whoever it was, there were so many people in the room, in and out. It was kind of me and Tamara, and then a whole bunch of mess in front. No Hurt Locker Tom, by the way. Tom Marazzo. That's the nickname we always gave him. He was nowhere around at that point. But, and, you know, the next day, Candace goes into Parliament, and she comes out. There was a media scrum for her, and they asked her about the truckers, and she said, what'd she say? Do you remember what she said? Did you watch? Because if you watched, you know what she said. She said, we hear the truckers. We're here for you. It's time to go home. And I said, because we were all kind of together when that happened, I said, ha! I told you this was a setup. Because I know that party inside and out. I know how they operate. And I know how they think. So, anyways. Just ask Tom Marazzo about that. He fucking knows nothing. And the guy's sitting there. The guy's supposed to be moving trucks around. Well, no, not moving trucks around. That's what he said to the new logistics. I explained this in the book. With trucks, and I'm like, they're all parked, dude. Like, whatever. And so many other big things to deal with than some guy who's trying to latch on and trying to look at. I thought in my mind, as I said, I thought, okay, you want to go look at trucks? Go look at trucks. That's fine. You come to Toronto, I'll show you my truck. How about that? You know, like, what do you want? Anyways, crazy, just absolutely crazy making. Anyways, so all of this to say, it was really disconcerting to see we're now at a point in the commission where the JCCF lawyers, the people who are supposed to be on the side of the trucker convoy, and as Sean Thiessen and Chad Eros and Chris Guerra and Bridget all indicated to me, because I kind of stepped away from this dumpster fire early on. I've had enough experience in business and boards and organizations to know that this is not going to go well. As they all said to me over the past several months, they're going to try to pin this on a tweet. And I thought, how pathetic, really. What a pathetic disaster this has become. Something that's fake. That I proved in my testimony that, hey, here are the text messages from Keith and from Tamara saying there's no deal. They all know. They know they're lying. And by they, I mean the lawyers. They know they're lying. And by the way, who are you going to trust? You're going to trust a bunch of hardworking truckers, regular middle-class people, or are you going to trust some lawyer Who's connected to a political party? Really? Who has the better moral framework in your mind? What do they say about politicians, right? And lawyers. Although I have a good relationship with many lawyers, so I tend not to say that, but because you learn over time who are the good ones and who are the bad ones. What's it called? Is Pat King in a suit named in the class action? No, he's not. Isn't that interesting? He's got away scot-free. Rebel News is platforming this guy because Ezra's been friends with him since law school, I think is why it is. He's no one's lawyer now because even the Freedom Corp has replaced him with some guy named James or Jason or something like that. So yeah, he gets to. Oh God, you talk about a camera whore. That guy. He was like the dog in. He was like the dog in Up. You know, squirrel. If you say camera, he's running. It was so many times. It was so crazy. It was like stop. Like, anyways, crazy people. All right, all your comments, and I'll get through the last section here. BJ, I'm only buying a book if you sign it. I would love to. Okay. Can't have an amazing book without my friend's autograph. For sure. Are you going to come? So the event we're going to do is on December 4th in Wallaceburg. I'll be posting the ticket link on my Twitter account and Getter and now Truth Social and I guess Facebook, which I don't really use. I've actually told Bridget because I'm going to be speaking there, and as will Bridget. Now, I know there's a lot of animosity towards people, some people, with Bridget because there was a lot of friction between her and Tamara, but I think that is water under the bridge at this point. Bridget wasn't she wasn't aware. We're all in different places in Ottawa, right? Like some people in the Arc Hotel, some people in the Swiss, some people on the ground dealing with trucks, which is kind of what Bridget was doing. She's doing a lot of the direct communication with people. So she didn't really see a lot of kind of in the background how things were changing. And so she thought a lot of this was Tamara who is behind it, and she realizes now that no, there was a whole political mechanism behind this. And that's what ended the Freedom Convoy and sabotaged the truckers. So if you are a trucker or you know a trucker who got a fine or got arrested or whatever, now you know who to be angry at. Anyways, and it's not Trudeau bad, conservatives good. We got to get away from that binary thinking of the world. It's all the people that were involved in either invoking the Emergency Measures Act, that would be Trudeau and them. They're really bad for a whole bunch of other reasons. For destroying the reputation of Canada, for destroying the reputation of our financial services, for invoking Canada's equivalent of martial law, for for trucks that were parked in a way that have violated bylaws. Like that's the clown world, right? But there was also the Doug Ford conservative mechanism machine that was there, engaged in political entryism to take over the movement. Elbows in, hey, we're in charge now, do this, this, and that. And I was the one pain in the ass who said, go fuck yourself. No, sorry. And the rest of them were a little bit, especially the class action suit, they were like all scared and whatever. Because they don't, I mean, it's not certified. Yeah, we go fight an injunction for sure, but there's a whole mechanism. But they're being told that you're going to lose everything, right? You're going to lose, at least that's what they understood. That's what some of them told me. D2, hey, what's up, brother? PI checking in. I have read The Freedom Convoy, Eyewitness to Deceit, and that's Tom's book. And your new book, you are giving me a whole different look on the innards of the convoy. Thank you. That's my pleasure. From what I understand, I didn't have a chance to read Tom's book. From what I understand, it focuses on the Trudeau aspect and the various statutes and laws that Trudeau violated. At least that's from, and protocols and procedures and all that sort of stuff. I haven't read it yet. I will eventually, and I hear it's good, and I always support Tom's work. Tom, 100% for truth. Apology only works if you can be used to earn more power. 100%. When it's true, don't apologize. Don't ever. Exactly. Okay, this is long. On my screen, it's like tiny little font that it's hard to read, just because the comments box is just like 1/10 of the window. exactly presence and dialogue was not undertaken by the city officials or politicians. The government failed big time. The truckers and other concerned citizens were heroes. They alerted the world as to how peaceful protests can raise awareness, slow rolls families, aiding the weak, and transparent discussion, respectful goals. Thank you for your hard work. Yeah, there's a chapter I have on it in the book called The Man in the Wheelchair, and that was that impacts me a big time. That was it was beautiful, but it was gut-wrenching at the same time. It was amazing. And the truckers were heroes because they stood up, and they still are heroes. Listen, they still are. And to my Substack tonight actually deals with the trucking convoy as it relates to Quebec, because we don't talk enough about what the Quebec truckers were doing and the people who led that. So that's going to be out tonight. I think at 8 o'clock is when I'm setting it to release tonight. BJdichter.substack.com, and that'll give you some context on Steve's story, which is quite amazing and quite draconian as well, what he went under. It was absolutely crazy. But we know Legault is a monster, yet they still reelected him. Go figure. Do you know anything about some of the things PK let out in his testimony? Coutts situation being a government plant. I don't know. PK, I guess, Pat King. I don't know. The Coutts border was completely separate from us. So we just got wind that the Ambassador Bridge was being blocked and the Coutts border was being blocked and a whole bunch of other ports were being blocked. I believe the port of entry into Nova Scotia, the seaport, was blocked as well by people in their tugboats. And so from what I understand, there were a whole bunch of those are just the two that are being focused on. Why are they being focused on? Because they're two major points of entry for trade, and they're conservative premiers, right? Doug Ford and Jason Kenney. And it was their boys that came in here to Ottawa to fuck with us. That's why, right? And before this, all the EMA was introduced. And by the way, Doug Ford introduced the Emergency Measures Act 2 days before Trudeau, which set precedent and helped Trudeau. And you can see by the emails they were talking to each other quite regularly. They seem to be quite. They seem to be buddies. So whatever. Anyways, okay. So let me. Look. At the end of the day, all of this went on, but I don't want you to think that I or others harbor negativity and are stuck in this negative frame. It is what it is. It was a learning experience, and people in the Netherlands have learned what we learned, and that helped them as well. So they are completely aware of how the political class came in and sabotaged the convoy, how the banking system cut people off, how they all colluded together, irrespective of political party, to target their citizens, right? So that's a good thing. That's an accomplishment, and that's not something we should be harbor negativity. It is what it is. There's going to be all these legal stuff that's going on. I don't know if the case will be certified. I wouldn't depend on anybody close, even in the same time zone as the JCCF, to be able to fight certification, which is why I have other lawyers, and I've recommended to some of the others to get different lawyers, because fighting it's a ridiculous. I don't know. The claim is. It's ridiculous. Like, I guess you're angry at the city. Then sue the city for not enforcing bylaws. What do you want? And plus, there's all that other stuff that came out in the commission that's really quite disturbing. But I don't know. What do I know? I'm just a regular dude, right? Plutocrats, the rise of the global superpower and the fall of everyone else. Plutocrats. Yeah, I don't think it's quite so binary, because, I have this conversation with people too. They talk about the elite class. Firstly, I don't call them elite. I call them scavengers, right? They're just scavengers going across the world and exploiting various countries and regions for not only resources and labor and all that sort of stuff. They're not elites in any way. They're scavengers. But some of them are great people that aren't scavengers. Some of them are good people that just spend their lives contributing to charities, contributing to churches and religious institutions, and they have a good moral framework. So it's not like there's one group. It's just like saying, all Canadians are X or all truckers are X. Like, we're all different. And we got to go back to individualism and not keep trying to put people into voting blocks, which is where this comes from, because that's what the political class does. So anyways, okay, so December 4th is going to be the Wallaceburg event. So if you are in that end of Ontario, there's going to be more events, I promise. I think we have one already scheduled in Quebec in January, which will be, book signing, a little bit of talking, maybe streaming, I don't know. We're talking to people in BC. It's just I'm so busy trying to get all this stuff done. And I want to do something in Ottawa because I know a number of you have reached out to me and want to do something. I've spoken to Rupa about maybe doing something with her in Ottawa. So we'll wait till she finishes the book first. And hopefully we can do something very soon. My nose is so itchy today. I don't know what is wrong with me. So I apologize. I'm not picking my nose. I'm just itchy. All right. So December 4th, Wallaceburg. And if you've bought the book, the most important thing you can do, please leave a review. Just a little review. Oh, and anybody else who's left a review, just click that their review has helped them. That's really important for the analytics. Dana, yes, come to Ottawa. Dana, I need to get somebody to put together a group of people on a list. And so if I know there's 20, 30 people, then we can set up tickets, find a venue, and see if we can get everybody together, right? Because I can't keep paying for all this stuff out of my own pocket. I'll go bankrupt very quickly that way. So I just got to be able to cover the costs. And a small ticket price to get. And I think the Wallaceburg, I think, is $20, and that'll help us cover any sort of costs around it and traveling and all that sort of stuff. So, because I got to take days off to do these things, right? Anyways, so the Wallaceburg, December 4th. I will put the link up today in Twitter, Facebook, Getter, Truth, everywhere, and I guess I'll embed it in this video as well afterwards. Couple of comments, and then we'll end if you have any other questions. St. Paul's University people will go. Can you email them and maybe CC me on an email or something? My email, it's been public. It was all over the world. That's why the media was chasing me. BJdichter@gmail.com. If you want to connect with me through email, let's get a group of us together. I would love to. And Amanda suggested to do, not this Amanda, another Amanda, suggested to do Gatineau. That Gatineau would be more receptive than Ottawa. I'm not sure. Anyways, Lori, Amanda Otis, I have a friend who was arrested in the house at Coots. Guns were planted by undercovers in RV stored in an RV. Stored on property by one of the protesters. That's really scary. That's really crazy, But anyways, book is on my Christmas list, BJ. I heard Santa has it covered. That is awesome. You get a star for such a beautiful comment. That's amazing. And I hope I'm hoping this will fit in a stocking stuffer, one of the larger ones. Because maybe this is an amazing stocking stuffer for your liberal friends as well, right? I mean, it's a gift. It would be rude for them not to read the gift that you bought them, right? So, I don't know. Or maybe a gift to your local coffee shop that has books there, like what Guillermo has done. I don't know. There's all sorts of creative things, so let's get the word out. Okay, a couple comments, and then I'm going to let you all get on your day, because my day is going to be nuts before I go to meet with Raheel. Okay, first comment. I'm thinking your non-arrest... my not being arrested. Although I was very close. We were very worried at some point. May be an effort to sideline you and diminish your relevancy to the convoy. Well, that is definitely going on, but through a different means. It would also lend in casting suspicion about your person and motivation. Yeah, they're just exploiting that. That's why they keep saying that. And they know why I wasn't arrested, but they're saying, oh, why weren't you arrested, Dichter? That's Fuckface Hillier. I would like to think you tend to be a free speech absolutist, truth seeker, and a danger to the establishment. More so than most others. I applaud your effort. Thank you very much. And yes, so I'm going to explain this whole thing. This is for the Pat King crowd. Okay. Why did I call Tamara and say Pat King needs to go? And everybody in the war campaign got so angry. They got so angry because they weren't thinking about what we were going through even at that early time. So we already had international media all over us. The convoy just started to roll. Things were positive because the whole message about peace, love, unity, and freedom was already out there. People understood that's what it was about. And then I get lighting up all my feeds this Pat King guy who I've never heard of doing videos about, and I know he says it's from a different event and it wasn't relevant to the convoy. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. The fact is it can be taken, and it wasn't deceptively edited. At least I don't believe that. And it wasn't just that. There was a whole bunch of things that were posted, not just the one video. This was the problem. One video you could navigate around it, but it was a whole bunch of stuff. And I don't know who this guy is. I have nothing. I don't know. I hear some of the comments. I'm like, WTF, dude, what are you doing? But okay, fine. I'm a free speech absolutist. Everybody should be able to say whatever they want, and we should be able to respond to them. However, in Canada, we have these stupid hate speech laws. And even though I think speech is speech, he had crossed the line legally into what could be considered hate speech law violation. Okay, I'm not on board with it. I don't support it, but that was the reality of our legal predicament, and we just started. We just started the convoy, and already we have to deal with this stuff, and that's why he had to go, or at least be asked to leave. And he didn't. He said he would leave, and then he didn't. Fine. But that is why, because the legal mechanism that we have, he already jumped into the trap of having said dumb things, and we knew the government would be ready to prosecute anything, absolutely anything. And that's why. It was nothing. It was not something personal. It was something... it was, how do you describe it? It was objective reasoning of we need to keep this as peaceful as possible so the government knows we are not a threat. We are there coming from a positive and peaceful and loving frame. Now, a little snarky comments making fun of, Jerry Butts and this person here on Twitter, that's in jest. But the whole tenor of the thing was peaceful and loving and joking. And much like Pat King in a suit did his video that completely screwed us on February 4th, his doomsday video, which was the complete opposite of the messaging we had done, that's the exact same thing Pat King did. Now, they ended up resolving some sort of differences or whatever. I don't know what it is. I don't harbor any anger to him. I don't know him. And that's fine. And I think Bridget is friendly with him, right? But from the strategic level, that is why it was a concern, because anybody who violated these stupid hate speech laws going into the convoy would just destroy and tarnish everything we had already built up to that point in terms of getting regular people on board and understanding that this was not adversarial, that this was a protest, of course, but it was a protest that anybody in government should have felt completely comfortable to come down to the tent and to the stage. We would have poured them a cup of coffee and we would have talked to them. Even Justin Trudeau, doesn't matter. At the end of the day, we're all Canadians, and that's what a protest is. They should have just at least come down and talked to us. But they're cowards. Like all authoritarians, they're complete useless cowards, little children in adult bodies. They didn't even have the balls to come for coffee. They couldn't even do that. Like, that is pathetic. And then they use hashtag leadership in their campaigns all the time. Don't forget that. So I hope people understand that it was not anything personal. I don't know, we didn't all know each other. The only person I really knew the longest was Tamara. I known her for several years at that point, right? And she trusted me to handle these issues throughout the convoy, right? She didn't trust Hurt Locker Tom. She didn't trust she trusted me to do that throughout the entire time, which is why she would frequently come into my hotel room and say, I need a hug, right? And we'd talk about kind of what's going on and who's causing issues and how to deal with them. But then, it's like, okay, let's focus on all the good stuff. Let's focus on what we've achieved here. We brought the country together. We brought people from Quebec and Alberta and Saskatchewan are all hanging out, loving each other. Like, that's what Canada's supposed to be. And we achieved that. And it was amazing. So last comment, and then I'm going to leave. Sorry about that. I didn't even mean to get into that. But I just want you guys to understand that was the perspective. And there's a reason every time, at least in my area, in my department, if you'd call it, there was a reason we made certain decisions. It wasn't just it wasn't ad hoc, and it wasn't due to personality. There were strategic reasons for making decisions and trying to keep everybody together and unified and peaceful, right? Okay, so next comment. I just read your book from start to finish in three and a half hours. Wow. It's amazing. I'm a little teary-eyed, especially how the book ended. I love that. I love reading that. Thank you so much. That's awesome. I hope all of you have that same experience. You as well, Freedom Girl and everybody else, and Dana. I hope you do walk away. I did want you to be a little teary-eyed because I was. Like, it was an emotional experience for me throughout the entire protest as well, and some of the comments and messages that I got from people via Twitter or email or whatever. Some of them were really, really touching, and some of them were really sad. But the overall general sense was we were giving people hope, and that's why it's the trucker convoy that gave us hope. And I think that hope is still there because I think the future is going to be bright. It's going to take a little while to get there. So, December 4th, Wallaceburg, if you're in Ontario. I think we'll put on the website at some point the different events that we're going to do because I'm getting requests all over the U.S. as well. And there's only so many things that I can do because at the end of the day, this cost me a ton of money. And so I got to pay that back, and I got a truck to run. So I will do whatever I can because I want to meet as many of you face-to-face and shake your hand, give you a hug, thank you, and spend some time talking to you like I did in Boston with those people. Because, I gave a speech, and how politicians are. They give a speech, and they run out the door. But I stayed around as long as I could just to get to know some of you personally. And I hope we're going to all get to know each other personally more and more, much like when Amanda came down to Toronto when that event was canceled, and we went out for drinks and hung out for a few hours. So I want to do more of that with as many of you as possible. Kiss Junkie says, I'm ordering one for my grandson when he's old enough. Okay, that's awesome. That's amazing. Well, then order Derek's book, How the Prime Minister Stole Freedom. Anyways, I've been trying not to give away the ending in the spaces. Lisa, don't give away the ending. The ending is... I mean, even I still get a little bit of chills reading it because I actually read the book the other day before Newsmax. And for me to read it, I read it in 45 minutes because I kind of know everything that's happening. But even I get a little chills at the end and knowing what it is. And I hope you all feel the same. All right. I got to run. Might do a Twitter space tonight. Not sure yet, depending on what time I'm back from... my event tonight, but we'll see. Hopefully we'll talk soon, and if not, I will see you here again tomorrow. Please have an amazing day. It is getting a little cold, which is why we have to be warmer to everybody in our day-to-day life, and support each other and become as Canadians we possibly can be, which is what we did during the Freedom Convoy. So, oh wait, so this was they had, hold on, to evoke I support. Oh, okay. So this is okay. So this was a plant. So they had a reason to invoke the EA. I support Jeremy, and I believe every word he says. But I don't know of the others who are also in jail. They haven't been as known. Okay. So yeah, a couple of things. I don't know about the plant in Coots, so I really don't know. Better to talk to somebody in Alberta. And if he says he's got contacts in Alberta, okay, I'd take him at his word, right? Maybe that is what happened. I really can't comment here and there, so I really don't know. I was so busy. We were all so busy just with trying to keep Ottawa under control and peaceful, and with all the saboteurs trying to take over. Even it was just a nightmare. It was like it just never stopped. So we didn't have time to really deal and speak with people in Coots at all. So, anyways. All right, so everybody have an amazing Sunday, and as Bella, mi bella hermosa, have an awesome day. Be good to everybody. If we keep being good to everybody every day, things will get better over time. Even the people we think are a little bit kind of out there, the people who are scared of the mask, be nice to them. You know what's amazing? If you're nice to them, then over time they start to talk to you a little bit, and then they're like, oh, well, why aren't you wearing a mask? It's like, well, I'm not going to hide. I don't believe that the mask is. I think it's what's it called? What's that term? It's slipping my mind right now. I should know better by now. Behavioral economics. That this is being used to put us into different silos, and we have to see each other's faces. That's how we communicate. 80% of communication is nonverbal. You can't form a bonding, loving relationship with somebody if you can't see their eyes and you can't see their face, which I'm not sure. Amanda, thank you very much. I love you too. I love all of you. Lisa, peace, love, unity, and freedom, and hope. That's the other thing. Let's stick together. We'll make the world a better place. It's just going to take some time, I promise. Gotta run.